What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing very well. We're back on the PTR. There's a new talent coming up for Enhancement Shaman that I haven't really looked at fully yet. And I thought I had covered it before in one of the previous videos, but I looked back in my footage and realized I hadn't even touched it. And so we're going to talk about that today. It's actually an important talent that you might end up taking all the time, and I'm going to explain why. So in the Enhancement Shaman tree, we've got Feral Spirit, and then we have Witch Doctor Ancestry, and then there's a new talent here called Flowing Spirits. This replaces Feral Spirits, and it says your damaging abilities have a chance to summon a Feral Spirit for 8 seconds. There's a couple of really important things going on here. First and foremost, this means you don't have to press Feral Spirits, which means you don't have to spend 1 GCD pressing Feral Spirits every like 20 to 30 seconds, because when you take Witch Doctor's Ancestry, you'd be getting a wolf, you'd be getting 2 wolves every like 20 to 30 seconds because of how the cooldown reduction works and how amazing it was, right? Now with Flowing Spirits, you don't have to spend that GCD, and that might sound like really inconsequential, but like, oh, Zuko, it's 1 GCD every 20 to 30 seconds. It's a lot, guys. I promise you, if you play Enhancement Shaman, if you play Enhancement Shaman, you know what I'm talking about. You are so GCD locked with this spec. There are so many important priority buttons that you need to press. You know, Primordial Wave, get the Sundering out if you need to stun something, get Doom Winds on cooldown, press your Frost Shock every time you use a spender and you have 10 stacks of Hailstorm built up. You know, you might have to hit Fire Nova if you're playing Fire Nova. If you get a Hot Hand proc, you need to press Lava Lash. Like, there are so many buttons that demand your attention at all times with Enhancement Shaman. Having this off the GCD is amazing. Step number 1, that's amazing, okay? Number 2, it actually works really well with the tier set bonus that we have right now in Season 1. So activating Feral Spirit summons an extra Feral Spirit. That works with Flowing Spirits. When you get 1 dog from Flowing Spirits, you'll actually get 2, which is really cool. That's one of the better parts of it, honestly, is that it works really well with the tier set bonus. I'm wondering in the next season when we don't have this tier set bonus, if it's not going to be as good. That would be my kind of prediction there. Number 3, it can proc from basically any source of damage, right? If we read the talent here, it says that your damaging abilities have a chance to summon a Feral Spirit. That will actually proc as well from your auto attacks, because your auto attacks have Wind Fury and Flame Tongue, which kind of count as abilities. So if a Wind Fury or a Flame Tongue procs, then there's a chance you'll also get a wolf from doing that. Now, obviously, you're going to be pressing your abilities all the time. I just wanted to clear that up, that is actually true. You can get wolves from just auto attacking, and I'm not getting one right now because, you know, the game hates me, but that is the truth. So how does it work? Well, you hit your abilities and you just do your regular thing, and then you'll get some wolves. And my next point that I want to talk about, there's some wolves right there. The wolves that spawn can be influenced by elemental spirits, which you can see I have different elemental dogs right there. If I press a nature ability, there's a chance I'll summon a nature. If I press a fire ability, I'm going to get fire dogs like I did right there. So the implications of this are actually really huge, because it means that no matter what build you're doing, you can potentially get the kind of dogs that you're looking for. Now, you have to have Flowing Spirits plus Elemental Spirits in order to do this. If you take Alpha Wolf, you will always get physical dogs every single time. You get the baseline Feral Spirits every single time that they spawn randomly, and they will increase your physical damage done. That might be really helpful for Totemic. I'll get to that in a different video, but there's potentially a build there for Totemic, okay? Which is really, really cool. One thing that I think is incredibly interesting is that if you flip to a pure storm-based build, you're only ever pressing nature abilities, basically, all the time. You're almost never pressing Lava Lash, okay? So you're going to start out the pull with a Lava Lash, let's say, right? And then now I'm just going to go into my rotation as a storm-based Enhancement Shaman. This is a deeply rooted storm build. I'm gonna get only lightning dogs. See, I got 2 lightning dogs already. I'm basically almost guaranteed to have pure lightning dogs because I'm pressing almost entirely nature spells over and over and over again. So because of the way flowing spirits kind of works with elemental spirits, you can game it a little bit depending on what build you're doing, and you can guarantee a particular kind of dog to buff a particular kind of element that you're looking to buff, which is very, very cool. I got unlucky that I got some fire dogs, but I'm still doing fire damage. It's okay. But you see what I'm saying? If you're doing a deeply rooted build, there's a very, very good chance that you're just going to get the vast majority of the dogs that you're going to get are going to end up being nature dogs, which is really cool. There's a deeply rooted proc right there. We're getting a dog right there. We're getting more dogs. We're casting a lot of nature spells. There's another dog. Now I have like, now look at my dogs. I have 4 dogs up right now. I had 5 for a second there. There is also an opportunity, I would say, especially with a storm-based build. There's an opportunity here for you to end up getting a ton of feral spirits up at the same time. I have 3 up right now. I've had 3 dogs up consistently for the last like 20 seconds now. So that's the kind of thing you can get with this talent. Now, I was wondering at the beginning before I even started taking this talent, like, well, the uptime just must not be that good because it's such an amazing talent if the uptime is actually really, really good. And I was like, well, we can look at that. So we'll wait till this kind of fizzles out here. Wait till my dog. I have 4 dogs, right? Look at all the dogs. That's insane, right? So we'll let them kind of fizzle out here, and I'll show you the uptime on them right here. The average uptime that I've been experiencing with my dogs has been something like 60 to 65%. Now, in this particular one, I had 77%. So that was a little bit lucky. I would say it's between like 60 and 70% is the average uptime that I am experiencing with these wolves, with the random wolf spawn. That is really, really good uptime. That is fine. Having feral spirits up 70% of the time. I mean, this is 77. Again, very got lucky, but 70% of the time is great uptime. That's about as much as you're going to get with Witch Doctor Ancestry. Now, the only real advantage to Witch Doctor's Ancestry is that you can, of course, bring the dogs out at the exact moment that you want the dogs to be out. But the reality is, with Flowing Spirits, it feels like the dogs are just out all the time. Like, they're pretty much out all the time. So that's the other piece of the puzzle that I want to talk about, is that the uptime is good enough, I would say, to warrant always taking this talent above the other Witch Doctor's Ancestry. Again, not having to press your wolves in it every single 20 seconds to get them back is really amazing. You can see how many other buttons we have to press, and you saw my rotation there. There's things like Voltaic Blaze going off, and I have to get my Storm Strike, and if I get an Ascendance proc, then sometimes you can get Ascendance procs on the live game right now, and because you're generating and spending so many Maelstrom weapon stacks, your dogs will come off cooldown like right away as you get into an Ascendance proc from Deeply Rooted. But inside your Ascendance window, you can't spend 1 GCD pressing your dogs. That's a waste of your Ascendance window. You have to press Wind Strike to trigger the extra Chain Lightnings and Lightning Bolts from Static and Thorns, right? So again, if you've just got wolves coming out passively, that alleviates that kind of problem. It really is a huge quality of life, and I didn't really realize how much uptime there was on these things, but there's a lot. There's actually a lot. And the fact that you can game them with elemental spirits to trigger, basically nature dogs all the time, or you can flip over to totemic if you want, and you could do a totemic build with Alpha Wolf, let's say, to buff all the physical parts of the totemic tree, which would be like Sundering, Fire Nova, and the totem itself, right? And all your Wind Fury damage. So now we're going to have Alpha Wolf. We'll have dogs that are constantly summoning. And even though I'm pressing fire and nature spells, because I have Alpha Wolf, they're only ever going to be physical dogs. You can see them. They look kind of normal now, right? There's those physical dogs right there. They're buffing all my physical damage by a massive amount, which is really good. That's Wind Fury damage, Sundering. My Surging Totem is physical, which is really nice. So you can do a whole build for totemic, I would say, based on the physical side of the wolves with Alpha Wolf, and you're getting the extra splash damage that the Alpha Wolf dogs are doing as well, which is part of that talent. So there are options here when it comes to the primordials, the wolves, sorry, and going with the flow, with this build. I think it's really good. I think it's probably the go-to way to play Feral Spirits now is to do Flowing Spirits instead of Witch Doctor's Ancestry, because it just alleviates that GCD pressure, and that is the biggest thing in my opinion. So I'll just show you the actual Alpha Wolf damage here. Let's see how much damage. The uptime there on the Wolves once again was only 41%, but I didn't go for very long. So there can definitely be some ups and a bit of RNG, but I'm telling you, I've done a bunch of playtesting on this now where I've sat on the dummies for like a good 5 minutes, and over the course of a 5-minute fight, the average uptime for my Wolves was about 60 to 70%. Okay, so it was really quite good. And then you can see the damage from the Wolves. Let me just find it here. Is it this one? Are they even here? There they are. So they're doing 4.1% of my damage. That's a bunch of that is Alpha Wolf. So that would get higher the longer the fight goes on because they would have higher uptime. But my point is that it's a really good quality of life. And I think it's what you're going to end up taking no matter what build you're doing now. It can go whichever element you want it to go. Nature, fire. You can do frost if you're doing a hailstorm build. I would say if you're doing a hailstorm build, you're only pressing frost shock once every 4 or 5 seconds, which is not really enough uptime. Like, the chances of you getting a Frost Wolf is pretty low, I would say. You might be better off with that build just playing the regular old Witch Doctor's Ancestry. It's up to you. But they can go whichever element you want. Fire, ice, nature, if you take elemental spirits, or they can go physical with Alpha Wolf, which might be really good for totemic. I'm going to do a totemic build very soon, don't worry. They you don't have to spend a GCD. Their uptime is really good and their damage is good. So I don't know what much more you really want there. I think that this is the go-to play for every enhancement shaman build moving forward, except maybe a hailstorm build. That would be the only exception there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think this is a very strong talent. I'm excited to play around with this next week. It's coming up very soon, guys. It's next Tuesday is when this patch goes live. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Love you all. I'll see you in the next one.